144 teams from across the football New South Wales landscape set off in March in search of the magic of the Cup. And here we are at the final stage of New South Wales qualifiers for the national round of 32. 10 teams, 5 games, winner takes all. And we're here at Belmore Stadium for a blockbuster between Sydney Olympic and the Marconi Stallions. Yes, two of the traditional powerhouses in Australian football. They met twice in the NSL era to decide the national championship. And here they are on a big FFA Cup stage 30 years later to decide who progresses to the national stage. Tony Tanous with you for this one. I'll be joined by Will Gotsis for this call, and he'll bring you up to date with the games around the grounds. But for now, we'll take a look at the lineups. And for the host Sydney Olympic, Abbassad names the following side. In goals, Paul Henderson, a back four of Will Angel, Mitch Stamatellis, Zach McKenzie and Nick Satalios. The holding midfielders are Darcy Burgess and Jinya Ahn. The front four, Jason Madonis, Dimi Petrados behind Alex Sanchez and Peter Kikeris. As for the Marconi Stallions, they make 4 changes to the side to beat Rockdale 5-2 on the weekend. In goals, Nenad Vekic, a back four of Peter Pelikanos, Nathan Milgate, Roberto Speranza, Giorgio Speranza. The holding midfielders are Liam Yulee and Brandon Vella. And up front, Yanin Nicolau on the right, Marty Fernandez, another youngster behind Marko Jesic, and James Andrew, the Cup's king, on the left side of the attack. Yes, we're all set here. What a game it promises to be. Pitch in perfect conditions. Sydney Olympic will be running from left to right in the all blue. We've had a lot of rain throughout the week building up to this one, but the pitch in great condition. And we're excited to bring you this one across our Football New South Wales channels. Remember, we're live, we're interactive, so be sure to share comments throughout. If you are on Twitter, use the hashtag FFA Cup and Magic of the Cup. Two of the traditional powerhouses in our game, the New South Wales football scene. And our officials for this one, Michael Weiner, about to get proceedings underway. His assistants are Jun Park and Matt Staples, and the fourth official is Matthew Reedy. It will be Marconi kicking us off. It's the 6th edition of the FFA Cup, and the stage is set to see who will represent New South Wales, following in the footsteps of the giant killers of the past 3 seasons, Blacktown City and the RPL Leichhardt Tigers. And joining me for this one, it's a big clash between Sydney Olympic and the Marconi Stallions, is Will Gotsis. Will, what do you think? How will this game unfold?
Oh, hello, Tony. Hello, listeners. It's going to be a fantastic clash. Of course, 2 powerhouses in Australian football going back to the NSL era, all to play for tonight. Of course, that final spot in that round of 32. Olympic have been a little indifferent at times over the last few weeks. Same to Marconi. Marconi hitting their straps on the weekend. This one could go down to the wire. I'm predicting extra time, Tony.
Oh, wow. We're here for the long haul. 4 games across the other grounds. Manly United at Cromer Park. They'll be taking on Rockdale City. 5th versus 6th on the NPL New South Wales ladder. Down south in Wollongong at Ian McClellan Park, the Wollongong Wolves flying high in the competition. They'll be taking on the Mount Druitt Town Rangers. And the big news for them ahead of this one, the move of Miriam Pavlovic across from Marconi. He starts over in Wollongong. As the ball comes in from the left-hand side, Marconi on the attack early. But yeah, the other 2 games, Dulwich Hill taking on St George FC over at Valentine Sports Park, and Sydney United taking on the Northern Tigers from NPL2. So Will Gotsis will keep us posted on those games.
Yeah, Tony, just before I'll cut to one of the scores already, in the 3rd minute, there was a goal down in Ian McLennan Park in Wollongong, and it's Mount Druitt Town Rangers taking the lead there, 1-0 over the current NPL New South Wales league leaders, Wollongong Wolves.
Wow, so that's a early goal for the Mount Druitt Town Rangers. They've featured Miriam Pavlovic, as we said, alongside John Roberts in the attack. So a couple of big ins in recent weeks for Aidan Desmond's side. They're off to a flyer. But here's Marconi on the attack now. Marty Fernandez at his striking at goal, playing in that number 10 role behind Marko Jesic. And now it's Peter Kikeris one of the recent additions to the Sydney Olympic side, was excellent on the weekend. Here he is driving into the box. And now it's a chance. Sanchez takes the first time strike, but good defending there. It was Roberto Speranza just applying the block. But it's an early corner here to Olympic.
Yeah, ominous signs there for Marconi defensively there, Tony. As you touched on, Roberto Speranza just with a block there as Sanchez was about to pull the trigger.
Yeah, there was a lot of speculation ahead of this game as to whether Sanchez would be featuring in the starting 11, having come off in the 79th minute on the weekend against Mount Druitt Town Rangers. But the talisman for Sydney Olympic, he is in the starting 11 and he'll be one of the danger men. The ball comes in from the corner. Climbing there, Zach McKenzie. Second chance here for Stamatellis. Falls now to Darcy Burgess. Inside he goes. Junior Ahn working all the way back to Will Angel. And now Darcy Burgess can launch again. Millgate playing in the centre of defence today for Marconi. We've seen him feature across the FFA Cup in recent years for the Apia Leichhardt Tigers. The hero last year against Melbourne Victory in the round of 16. So he's in the centre of defence today. There's Will Angel, one of the stalwarts of Sydney Olympic. Where's that one? Shakes it off. Certainly Nathan Millgate, one of the real cup heroes in this Marconi side. James Andrew, the other one, scored a couple of goals. You might remember a couple of years ago for Blacktown City against the West Sydney Wanderers. Also, in the quarter-final, that was, Wanderers eventually knocking out Blacktown City, but a couple of FFA Cup heroes on both sides. Michael Gaitatsis on the bench for Sydney Olympic. He's got a great record this season as well in the preliminary rounds. As the ball goes forward. Now it's Madonis leaving it for Angel. Speranza, Giorgio first to it though, and he can keep it in here. Lays it off to his brother in Roberto, and he can launch long. Strong work from Stamatellis. And Brandon Vella, some speculation around him whether he'll be playing in the midfield or out on the flank, but he's partnered alongside Liam Yulee in the centre of midfield for Marconi. Junior Ahn gets this one forward. Sanchez in behind early here. Can he get to it before the byline? Cuts it across. Millgate with some good defending. Only as far as Madonis though. Sydney Olympic skipper looking to the back post. Junior Ahn it was. And now Millgate can clear. Now Pelikanos can help out. Looking long for the Stallions. Strong work though from Zach McKenzie. Player who moved across from Apia last season. He's been very good for Sydney Olympic since his arrival here.
Yeah, it's good to see, Tony. Olympic have started quite positive tonight, pressing a little high and putting some pressure on that back third of Marconi. We'll see if anything comes of that in the next 10 or 15 minutes. Marconi, of course, with a different back line tonight, so interesting to see how they hold up, especially in that middle third.
Yeah, no Zach Cairncross in the starting 11 today. As Olympic come forward, and Will Angel, not far. A good effort there. Lovely combination with Jason Madonis, his skipper, who started very well here.
Yeah, decided to pull the trigger there. Will Angel didn't miss by a lot in the end. Vekic was clamouring there. The block, or the deflection somewhat. We'll see Jason Madonis once again take another corner for Olympic, their second of the evening.
We've been used to early goals in the clashes between these two sides. Seen goals in the first, third and fourth minute in the last three games between these sides. Can we get another early one here? Olympic on the front foot through Stamatellis. And the header, not far at all. Decent delivery from the skipper again. Madonis, who's looked very lively early on. By his standards, hasn't quite been the season that he produced last season. But he started this one extremely well.
Yeah, he certainly has, Tony. He's been a little bit indifferent. The couple of games I've got to see Olympic this year has been one of their better performers, especially that game going back when they played against Blacktown. But good to see the deep cross there, not allowing the keeper to come out, and great opportunity for Olympic, especially with the tall timber that they have at the back.
Here's Brandon Vella now. Marconi's player of the season last year. He's been very good again this season. And here he is combining through the midfield with Liam Yulee. Time to turn and combine again with Vella. Good combination through the midfield. Yulee wants to try his luck now. In the end, not enough power on that. Henderson comfortably behind it. Marconi's first attack.
Yeah, they certainly looked good moving forward there, Tony. Their first real foray into Olympic territory with that shot there from Liam Yulee. Comfortable on the ball as well. So both sides are a good opening 8 minutes here at Belmore Sports Ground.
So the big news last week for the Marconi Stallions, of course, Mirjam Pavlovic, their leading scorer, as Kakeris is brought down on that far side. Pavlovic, of course, moving on to the Mount Druitt Town Rangers. So Marconi were able to respond after a 4-game losing run with a big 5-2 win on the weekend against Rockdale City. An impressive performance. They were down 2-0. It's a great comeback. Talk a little bit more about that as Olympic set up here for an early set piece. Zach McKenzie goes to the back post. Kakeris is in there. So's Dimi Petratos, the youngster. But it goes to Stamatelis. Again, he's the target. This time straight at Nenad Vekic. And it remains 0-0 here in the 9th minute at Belmore Sports Ground. Tony Tanus and Will Gotsis with you across the Football New South Wales channels. Remember, we're live and interactive. Sure to interact throughout. If you are at another ground, keeping an eye on this one. Let us know how that one's going. We'll keep you certainly posted as the scores come through across those 4 games. Got an early goal, as we said, out at Ian McLennan Park. Mount Druitt Town Rangers against the competition leaders in the New South Wales National Premier League, Wollongong Wolves. With an early goal there. Sanchez the target. Millgate away. Only as far as Dimi Petratos. He was very good for Olympic in the under-20s on the weekend against Mount Druitt Town Rangers. Scored a goal. Also produced a man of the match performance. The younger cousin of the Socceroo star by the same name. Newcastle Jets star, Dimi Petratos. Here's Giorgio Speranza, away for the Stallions.
Yeah, Tony, just to give the listeners a head up in relation to the Rangers, it was a Mirjam Pavlovic ball in from the left flank that was knocked past the Justin Passfield by a Wolves defender, so it was a known goal there. But the ball in, the assist was from Mirjam Pavlovic, so immediately he's had some say in that game.
Yeah, the big news, a huge story. A few disciplinary issues here at the Stallions. So making that move mid-season. And of course, Mount Druitt Town Rangers in 11th spot on the NPL ladder. So really looking to push up in the second half of the season. The addition of Pavlovic and Roberts as Olympic come forward here through Dimi Petratos. Gets into the box now. Petratos still going. Good dribble from him, and now he lays it out to Angel. To the back post it goes. Just doing enough there was Peter Pelikanos. A rare start for him. He was a regular feature in the Marconi side last season. Played alongside Michael Beauchamp in the centre of defence, but he gets a start here on the right side of defence as Olympic come forward again. Trying to slip it in behind for Sanchez, who picks up the second ball. And now it falls to Petratos. Can't quite get it to Madonis on the first effort now. Madonis retrieves. Giorgio Speranza doing a great job there just to get the block on. But again, it's Olympic on the front foot. Another set piece here.
Yeah, another acid test for the Marconi defence, Tony. Just while we wait for this corner to be taken, there's an upset looming out at Edenza Sports Park. Sydney United trailing Northern Tigers 1-0 into the 15th minute there. So Northern Tigers first on the score sheet out there at Edenza Park. Yeah,
very good side in the NPL too. Just outside the top 6 positions, the Northern Tigers. But they've got a lot of quality, very organised. And I know Sydney United have been taking this one very serious. Here's Jinya Ahn trying to get this ball inside. Vekic comes out and punches. Only as far as Italios, but Marconi picking up the loose ball. Good battle in that midfield for possession. Darcy Burgess. In the end, giving up a throw in. That Northern Tigers side try and get a goal scorer throughout the coverage, but obviously Shervin Adeli's their big gun up front. He's been terrific for them throughout the FFA Cup qualifiers so far. Scored some absolute bombs in both the NPL2 competition, and you would have seen a couple of his strikes from range go viral across the FFA Cup hashtags and Magic of the Cup hashtags. He's been terrific for the Northern Tigers, has Shervin Adeli. Excellent start from them. This time it's Angel giving up the ball in midfield to Liam Yulee. Excellent feet from him to skip around Petrados.
Yeah, we're just catching footage there. It was Shervin Adeli with a stunning free kick outside the box, scoring their opening goal there. So the futsal star, what a legend he is, yeah.
Shervin Adeli, that one's going to go viral too.
When he scores, he scores. He doesn't score, just he scores blinders. So
yeah,
fantastic player.
Obviously featured. We saw a lot of him last year at Bonnyrigg White Eagles in the NPL1 competition, and he's earned a reputation this year in the New South Wales qualifiers for scoring some absolute gems, and he's added it to it tonight. Junior Ahn playing in the midfield alongside Darcy Burgess. So for Abbotsard's men, 3 changes from the side that drew 2-2 with Mount Druitt. Tom Whiteside given a rest. He's been playing in centre of defence, given a rest tonight. And also Harry Gay-Tatsis and Nicola Kalescu started on the weekend. They're both on the bench tonight. That bench for Sydney Olympic, Ezekiel Consoni, Harry Gay-Tatsis. That Cups hero I mentioned earlier, Michael Gay-Tatsis, scored a couple of goals for Olympic in their previous editions of the FFA Cup. As the ball goes through, inside it goes to Kakeris, skips around Vekic, and the keeper recovers well. In the end, saves with the foot. Excellent play though, Kakeris.
Yeah, almost catching out Marconi defensively there. Kakeris skipping around Vekic, but geez, he did so well, Tony, to get back on his feet. Forced the block and the corner to Olympic, but still not out of it, Marconi.
Yeah, Olympic with a very positive start here. Kakeris, I mentioned, man of the match performance for him against Mount Druitt Town Rangers on the weekend. Starting this one positively, that run in behind. Here's Junior Ahn, the set piece taker. Inside it goes! Flick on there, it was Sanchez, and not far at all. An excellent start, we mentioned, from Olympic. And Sanchez, who's been hot to trot in recent weeks. 11 goals in the New South Wales National Premier League. Almost getting one here in the FFA Cup qualifier.
Yeah, Marconi at the set piece have been struggling somewhat in this opening quarter of an hour. Olympic looking likely in that front third off the set piece, but still no goals for the home side.
What a record he has, Alex Sanchez, against the Marconi Stallions as the ball goes forward. In the last 3 meetings between these two sides, Sanchez has scored 5 of Sydney Olympics 7 goals against Marconi. They've got a great recent record over Marconi. Obviously, we talk about that history going back to the 1989. Sanchez there skips around Roberto Speranza. We're going to get the first yellow card here. Speranza having to bring him down. A lovely dummy there from Sanchez. Ball coming forward. Sanchez letting it roll past the defender. And it's an early yellow card in the 17th minute to Marconi's central defender, Roberto Speranza. Just saw the danger there. We know Alex Sanchez loves to peel out into those wide areas. We saw that on grand final day last year against Apia Leichhardt Tigers. And he's earned a free kick here. Really relishing the early going here at Olympic. They've stated that one of their big ambitions is to make the FFA Cup this season. As the ball comes in from Junior Ahn, again it's Sanchez. He's disappointed there that no one's running across to the back post. You could see him looking over his shoulder there. Got that near post flick on.
Yeah, unfortunately for Olympic there, Mitchell Stamatellis looking for the ball into the mix, saying that there was no one at the far post. That flick on was perfect there by Alex Sanchez. And if you had someone on the far post running onto it, it may well have been 1-0, but it's still 0-0 here at Belmore.
Now it's a free kick to the Marconi Stallions. They've made 4 changes to the starting 11. Beat Rockdale on the weekend. Great come from behind victory, a much needed victory that takes them up to 16 points. Equal with Sydney Olympic. Coming into this one in 7th and 8th place respectively, separated by only goal difference. Does Marconi get a set piece in here? Trying to retrieve it now at the far post. It's Roberto Speranza, but the flag's gone up on that far side. Matt Staples on that far side. Jun Park on the near side. And the pitch playing in great condition early, given the amount of rain we've had.
Yeah, we have thought at times today the game may have been called off because Olympic have had some games in the past, being a green pitch, grass pitch, there have had games called off, but being down on there before the game today, Tony, was a fantastic surface, a little wet, but great underfoot, and no doubt it's going to be up for some great football tonight.
Yeah, I think the footballers out there will relish the conditions as the ball goes forward to Sanchez. Millgate strong in the back there. It's another free kick here to the host Sydney Olympic. You mentioned it hasn't been a great season for them so far. They threatened a couple of weeks ago. Looked like they were about to get on a bit of a roll. As Madonis gets it forward again, looking for Sanchez. They had good victories here on Anzac Day against the RPL Leichhardt Tigers. And then in the following week, they went over to Marconi Stadium and beat the Stallions by 3-1. But just in the past couple of weeks, so they've got a bit of defending to do here through Zach McKenzie. Clears forward. Now Satalios gets it up. Madonis again with a bit of space. Relishing the early going here. Again he finds Junior Arn, who just let that run. To the favour though of Millgate, who can clear there. Solid start from Millgate. We've been more used to seeing him on the right side of defence for RPR and even Marconi, but in recent weeks he has been used there where Zach Cancross hasn't been available, and today Zach Cancross not available for Peter Tsakenis. So Millgate gets that position, and he might have a bit of defending to do here on Petrados, who tees up Angel. Now he goes inside. Back post was Pelikanos, and now the volley. Not a bad effort at all. Darcy Burgess it was on the edge of the box. Getting it down on the chest and trying his luck on the volley. Again, Olympic on the front foot.
Yeah, very dangerous there for the visitors. Of course, Olympic at times tonight, first to the second ball. They were again there, and a shot just over the crossbar from Darcy Burgess. With some good pressure from the hosts.
Talk about those 4 changes for the Marconi Stallions. Coming into the side, Yanni Nicolau, Liam Yulee, also Marty Fernandez. 3 youngsters, as well as Peter Pelikanos. No Mitch Malia, no Richie Cardozo, no Zach Cancross, and also Sean O'Connell, the skipper on the weekend, is on the bench for the start of this one. On the early going, they are on the back foot. They're looking to provide a bit of forward thrust here.
Well, it's cup football, as we know, Tony, and a lot of the youngsters have done the job for them so far throughout the preliminary stage. Lucky Sepping on the bench, another one of those. As well, Damien Tsakenis. So
certainly, as you say, Will, they've been among the goals, those youngsters. It's a bit of an appeal there. It's going to be a corner here to Marconi. The judge to have come off an Olympic player right on the byline. So it's an early opportunity here for the Stallions. We're at the midway point of the first half. Looks like it might be Satalios that's gone down in the back play. Certainly keep an eye on him as he limps back on the field. But Michael Weiner, the referee, ready to get things going again from a set piece here, a corner to the Stallions. In it goes. The punch coming from Henderson. Does enough there to get it to the youngster in Caceres. Coming across from the Central Coast Mariners. And now Sanchez. Look at the strength to hold up his two defenders. Excellent play from the Spaniard. Frustrated there. The body work from Brandon Vela. But what about the strength? Alex Sanchez.
Yeah, he's deceptively strong, Alex Sanchez. And we've said Olympic have been a little up and down, but after a slow start to the year, Alex Sanchez in recent weeks has really shone and shown why he was the number 2 goal scorer last season. He's in stellar form, and anything Olympic do in that front third tonight will be on the back of him.
Now the combination between Angel and Darcy Burgess. In it goes. And Millgate, important header there. In the end, Caceres coming in and fouling Peter Pelikanos at that back post. But the supply line from the right-hand side from Olympics been very impressive early on. Will Angel joining Madonis. There's been some excellent delivery.
Yeah, just looking at around the grounds, Tony, it's still the scores still remain at Wollongong. It's Mount Druitt Town Rangers 1, still leading Wollongong Wolves 0. At Dulwich Hill, it's Dulwich Hill 0, St George Saints 0. That one's been played at VSP tonight. Manly United 0, Rockdale City Suns 0. That's 28 minutes gone. And at Adenza Park, that early goal from Shevin Adeli. It's Northern Tigers 1, still leading Sydney United 58 FC 0.
So 7 teams from the NPL 1, 2 from the NPL 2 in St George and the Northern Tigers. And Dulwich Hill, the sole representative from NPL 3. Imagine they go through to the round of 32. What a story that would be.
Oh, it'd be great. That in that game alone, it's an NPL 2 versus an NPL 3, so we're at least going to see one of those in that final stages. We're back in some action here, Tony.
There's Speranza. Roberto gets it back to Vekic. Under pressure there from Sanchez. No doubt Abbassad would love to isolate Sanchez one-on-one against any defender. We've seen that right throughout the past 2 seasons in the New South Wales National Premier League. As the ball goes forward, Stamatellis happy to let that one roll. Marconi building their way slowly into this game. Olympic have certainly been the dominant force in the opening 25 minutes. But bit by bit, Marconi have so far survived. And they're slowly getting into this one.
Football's all about chances, as we know. Tony, you called that game a few weeks ago in the NPL, which Sydney Olympic had about 40 chances to Sydney FC's 4, I think it was, and they scored 3 goals and lost 3-2, Sydney Olympic. So they've got to make the most of their dominance in this midway through the first half, or Marconi can strike. Yeah,
it certainly has been the story for Olympic this season. So many games where they have controlled, not been able to find the back of the net as James Andrew gets forward. Anytime he's near the ball in the opposition half, especially in the FFA Cup, it spells danger. He scored on the weekend, James Andrew, player who moved across to from Blacktown City at the start of last season, injured in the early part of the season, but now starting to tick on the left side of the attack. Was excellent on the weekend. Here's the resulting corner now. Drifted to the back post. Henderson comes. Authoritative keeping from the veteran custodian. And he goes long again, trying to isolate Sanchez.
It's been interesting the last couple of corners that Marconi have had, Tony, that they've looked for Nathan Millgate both times. So keep an eye on their set pieces, and especially with Nathan Millgate, one of the stronger headers in the competition.
Here's Marty Fernandez driving into the box, the youngster. Good dribble from him. Gets a start in this game. Came off the bench for Richie Cardozo on the weekend. Richie Cardozo pulling up with a bit of a hammy strain. So Marty Fernandez, player who's really been catching the eye in the under-20s. A couple of those kids, you mentioned Lachlan Sepping earlier, Damien Sekenis as well. They've been among the goals in the FFA Cup qualifiers. Marconi beating Abbotsford by 7-1 back in round 4. That was back in April. Sepping got 4 on that occasion. Then the game that you were at, 5-1 victory over the Ponds FC, one of the association sides, one of the 96 association sides that represented in the FFA Cup this year. Terrific feature of the Cup, that grassroots football. And then they beat Harcoa, another NPL 1 side, 3-0 in their final qualifier, the round 6 qualifier before this one. And again, Fernandez was on the score sheet in that.
Yeah, that game against Ponce, it was Fernandez, Sepping and Sekenis, all youngsters on the score sheet, so they've really done the job. Happy birthday, Lockie Sepping just celebrated his 17th birthday. So
terrific talent.
He's a great talent.
Certainly one to keep an eye on. We might see him feature later in this game, particularly as you predicted if it goes further on beyond the 90 minutes. Game's coming thick and fast for all these sides. Only a 2-day turnaround from their fixture on Sunday. As Roberto Esperanza knocks it into the midfield here. And now it's Yanni Nicolau. Chance to strike from range. Another one of the promising kids who spent some time at the West Sydney Wanderers Academy. Has been featured more predominantly as a right back this season.
Yeah, he got his opportunity early on, Tony, with that suspension. Nathan Milgate in that Rockdale City game that they lost with that penalty in injury time, and has been a mainstay since then. He's played that well that Peter Sekenis has not been able to omit him from the lineup, so all kudos to him.
Yeah, in a slightly different role today, but we know about his adaptability. There was even some speculation that he could have played in the midfield. Grew up as a number 6, so very adaptable, and he's been the victim of a sandwich here. Looks like Satalios, and it might have been Kakeris as well, sandwiching up on him. But he's up on his feet, Yanni Nicolau, and that's good to see. Sydney Olympics run so far, round 4. Wait for this set piece to be taken. The ball goes forward for Jesic. Now he tries to turn, but Stamatellis does the job, sticking to him very well. Jesic, Marconi's leading scorer. He's been a real danger man, scored 9 goals in the NPL competition. Always very prolific, featuring regularly in our Ultra Football Teams of the Week. Now it's a set piece as the ball goes, again looking for Pelikanos. This time Zach McKenzie's first to it. Now Vela happy to share it with Giorgio Speranza. And he switches it out to that right-hand side. In it goes. The header from Jinya Ahn. And now Dimi Petratos can find Sanchez in transition. Now he can go one-on-one. Good work though, Liam Yuli. Excellent defending from the holding midfielder. Working back to double up. And now he looks early for James Andrew. Goes all the way through to Henderson though, end-to-end action.
Yeah, it was great transition play there from Liam Yuli. The defence, the tackle first, then the ball in that front outlet to James Andrew. Unfortunately, just the ball skidded on into Henderson's hands. But some fabulous play there from Marconi.
Here is Marty Fernandez. Marconi starting to get more into this game now. Again, it's Fernandez on the edge of the box, committing McKenzie. Now it's out on that right-hand side. Vela it is who dinks it inside. Jesic goes near post. Stamatellis alert though, and gets the assistance of Zach McKenzie, his central defensive partner. Mentioned no Tom Whiteside today. He's been a regular in that Olympic defence the last couple of seasons. Wasn't quite one of his best games on the weekend. Bit of a rest for him tonight. So it sees Zach McKenzie move back out of midfield. Very adaptable player alongside Stamatellis. But those games for Olympic, round 4, they won 3-1 over Linfield FC. Game that was officiated by our official today, Michael Wiener, over at Charles Bean Sports Ground. Michael Gatsatzis getting a double there. Then in round 5, a 2-0 win at home at Peter Moore Stadium, just over the hill on the other side, against the Stanmore Hawks. Jack Stewart, who's not featured tonight, he's out injured. Got a brace on that occasion. And in round 6, the last time round, what an epic that was over at Cook Park, St Mary's, against the PNFC. More on that as Dimi Petratos cuts it back now to Madonis. Now it falls Jinya Ahn. Skews his left foot attempt. He'll mark that one down as a pass as Kakeris picks up the ball. Marconi working hard though to win the ball. They've given away a free kick, though. That game will 2-1 extra time. Bit of an epic.
Yeah, it was. I mean, Tony, Nepean FC did well. They almost pulled off the upset there. Olympic scoring late on to force it in extra time, and Olympic just doing enough in extra time to go through to this round of 7. Almost it wasn't to be for them, but what a big carrot there is in play tonight.
Yeah, we saw Nepean in one of the earlier rounds play against the Kellyville Colts, the magic of the cup.
Yeah, we did.
Out at
Bernie Mullane.
Bernie Mullane. Some terrific to see them progress. A state league club, almost one step away from the round of 32. So it was a great run from them. And that's what we love about the early rounds of the FFA Cup. And we've been blessed. As we said, 144 teams starting, 96 of those association sides. And it gets bigger and better every year. And the hype and attention around these 5 games today. Winner takes all. D-Day, really. So much attention.
Well, a lot riding on it, Tony. We saw on the weekend with Sydney United, they rested some players in advance of today's fixture because they desperately, like all teams, want to get through to the round of 32.
Here's Jesic. Now flicking a reverse ball into James Andrew. Again, it's Stamatellis, who's had an excellent start to the match defensively. Player who spent a season over at Harcoa, but he's come back to Sydney Olympic. Scored a couple of goals in the NPL season, a couple of headers. We've seen him already look a threat at set pieces. And you're absolutely right, the seriousness that teams are taking. Remember seeing a video on our Football New South Wales social pages at the start of the year about Olympics ambitions this year, and one of them was certainly to make it to the round of 32. We've seen Blacktown City, I mentioned in the opener, Blacktown City and Apia last season, Blacktown the 2 seasons before, making it through to the quarterfinals. We've had 5 years of FFA Cup, and it really is now becoming a carrot for these clubs.
Well, it is. I mean, there's prize money in play, but more so it's getting on that national stage, especially ex-NSL clubs like Sydney Olympic, like Marconi in play in front of us today. Getting on the big stage and getting their name and brand out is what it's all about. And if you ask the players, they prefer to play an A-League side next round if they get through than an NPL club. It's all about playing the big teams, the big fixtures. And we saw last year with the semi-professional side like Apia Leichhardt, they knocked off the reigning champions in Melbourne Victory. And they obviously lost to the ultimate champions in the end was Adelaide. But they did themselves a great dessert, and getting through to that national audience is what it's all about.
Yeah, and Blacktown City the year before, of course, they had knocked off Central Coast Mariners. They came within a whisker of knocking off the West Sydney Wanderers as well. So really, they have set the bar in the last couple of years. And Olympic and Marconi both been there on 2 occasions. Marconi have been knocked out in the round of 32. Olympic have made it on both occasions to the round of 16. So both these sides, obviously, as we mentioned, big history in the NSL. And they're really keen to get back on that national stage. Sydney United's got a terrific record as well. They've been on that round of 32 stage on 4 occasions. Here's Dimi Petratos. Excellent technique from him, trying to skip around Giorgio Speranza. But the experienced defender, we talk about that Blacktown City side. Giorgio and Roberto Speranza coming out of that side. Also James Andrew, Zach Cancross. We saw Connor Evans as well warming up. He's only a few weeks away from possibly returning into this Marconi side. But some heavy recruitment from Blacktown. And a lot of these guys bring a lot of FFA Cup experience to this club.
Yeah, they certainly do. I remember that year we were doing radio together and I called the Central Coast Mariners upset. And then you were on a sideline with another fellow commentator, Nicholas Kutniak, for that game against Western Sydney Wanderers when they were playing for Blacktown City. And that game you've spoken about so often, the game that should have been that wasn't.
Yeah, and we're seeing the quality of the New South Wales National Premier League rise and rise every season. And it's going to be a big test, obviously, this year to see who progresses through to that round of 32. Any progress scores?
Yeah, there's been a goal at United Sports Centre, and it's now Sydney United 58 FC 1, Northern Tigers 1. That game's in the 41st minute, so We'll try and find out who scored that goal for Sydney United and come back to you shortly, Tony.
As Marconi try and build up now, get it into the feet of Jesic. Now the combination with Liam Yulee. Darcy Burgess doing the defensive work in the midfield. Yulee coming away with it. Starting to build his minutes in this side as Liam Yulee in recent weeks. And he started this game extremely well, winning the free kick there. Battling away against the likes of Jinya Ahn and also Darcy Burgess, the Marconi youngster. He's joined in that midfield, as we said, by Brandon Vella tonight. And now Marko Jesic over the dead ball. 38 minutes in here. Tony Tanus and Will Gotsis with you. Across the Football New South Wales channels. 0-0's the score. Marconi with a set piece. In it goes. This time the header away from Nick Satalios. Jesic picking up the loose ball, but immediately double teamed here.
Tony, has been a goal at Valentine Sports Park. A guy we know well, Hussein Akil, has opened the scoring from the penalty spot for St George Saints, so they're leading Dulwich Hill 1-0.
What a big upset it was, St George, against the Apia Leichhardt Tigers last time round at 5 Sports Caringbah. A big win for them. Brad Bartel scoring against his old club in Apia, and they've made a terrific start there.
That's right, 100%.
Such a historic club. Wouldn't it be great to see St George on the FFA Cup?
Another one of those old school NSL giants, that's right.
Here's another of the giants in Marconi. The ball comes inside. Nicolau is on the edge of the box. Now it falls to Vella. First time dink inside. Stamatellis away with the header. Now it's back inside. Milgate on the air. A chance here. Marconi take the lead. Milgate with the assist. Excellent work from the Stallions. And it's that man we talk about in the Cups King. The two Cups Kings combined there. Milgate with the assist. James Andrew with the finish. Terrific goal from the Marconi Stallions.
Yeah, well, just like that, Olympic caught out in the back. Beautiful ball in. And James Andrew, as he's known, Jimmy the Jet, after scoring on the weekend, getting some confidence back in those legs after some injuries throughout the season, opening the scoring here at Belmore Sports Ground on the 40-minute mark. And Marconi to play from in front today.
Terrific start here from the Stallions. They've taken the lead. It was those two Cups heroes. Milgate at the back post. James Andrew with the finish. Talk about his form. James Andrew started the season quite slow with injuries. Getting better and better week after week, and we've seen that. Scored on the weekend, and now he's got an FFA Cup goal. Will that propel the Stallions into the national round of 32? Still plenty of time here. Olympic story of their season. They've been dominant in a lot of games, not been able to convert, but so much time still to go here.
Yeah, it's all about taking your chances, Tony, and fortunately for Marconi, they've taken their chance. That's going to mean a lot to James Andrew, as we've touched on. Plenty of injuries this season, ongoing for the last 12 or 18 months, really, but he's in 100% form at the moment. His fitness is there, and what a great finish that was.
Here's Olympic looking to hit back now. The ball inside. Madonis, the skipper. Can he conjure something up here for the hosts Olympic? Andrew working back in defence, and now he can go on the dribble. Battling away with Darcy Burgess and winning the free kick. Confidence up, no doubt. James Andrew.
Yeah, did well there, James Andrew, to win the free kick. Darcy Burgess got in front of him and had possession of it, but he fought like a caged lion in the end. Darcy Burgess had to foul him because he was eyes up and decided to just put a halt on Marconi's transition there as he's gingerly getting up. But he'll just run that off and get back into position, awaiting this free kick from Roberto Speranza.
Forward it goes. Andrew's the target here. Bit too much heat on that one. Can't quite keep it in. But what a recent record for James Andrew. I mentioned that 3-0 win in round 6. Back on the 15th of May over Harkoa. And Andrew was among the scorers on that occasion. He scored again on the weekend. His first goal of the NPL season. against the Rockdale City side in that 5-2 comeback. And now he's added another one in the FFA Cup.
Yeah, half-time down at Ian McLennan Park at Kembla Grange. Wollongong Wolves 0. Mount Druitt Town Rangers 1. Half-time also at Valentine Sports Park. St George Saints 1 leading Dulwich Hill 0. And Tariq Mayer was the person who scored for Sydney United 58 FC. That is in stoppage time in the first half, 1-1 there at Adenza Park.
Thanks for the updates, Will. We'll keep you posted right across the evening. So much action still to come. All those games alive. We saw the Wollongong Wolves go behind against Pittwater RSL in round 6 last time round. Thomas James came off the bench, scored 2 in the last 10 minutes there. Here's Yanni Nicolau. Can he shake off Mackenzie? Does it fall here to Vella? First time ball. We know he's got the ability there, Brandon Vella, terrific footballer. Provided that cross in the build-up.
Like he was in two minds there, Tony, like he was about to pull the trigger, but at the last second he spotted James Andrew free, just couldn't pull out of it, and the strength of the pass was too much for James Andrew. But if that had gone through with not as much pressure on the ball there, geez, that was a great opportunity for Marconi to double their lead entering the break.
We've got some blockbusters right across the Football New South Wales scene tonight. As James Andrews tries to battle away here with Angel. Excellent work again. James Andrew, the speed, starting to really ask some questions and hurt Sydney Olympic. Is that a yellow card? The first one for the hosts. Will Angel, the experienced right back, going into Michael Wiener's book. Excellent work again, James Andrew.
Yeah, just struggling to handle his speed at the moment. And I think it's really showed that Hammy's in fine form for him. Creates the half chance out of no chance. James Andrew with that blinding speed that he has, but what a precarious position now for Olympic to defend this Marco Jesic free kick, Tony.
As we mentioned, Marconi's leading scorer, Marco Jesic, loves to take the set pieces. You've seen him score from similar range already this season. Henderson's got a 4-man wall up. Marconi have got a couple on the end of the wall. Just screening. Jesic goes across the keeper, and it comes off Henderson, and Marconi extend the lead. Marco Jesic with a stunning free kick. Comes off the post, then off Henderson. Sums up the season so far for Sydney Olympic. Bassard can't believe it, but Marconi have a 2-0 lead here just before the half-time break.
Yeah, what a great exponent he is, Marco Jesic. Was always going to be difficult for Henderson there. He had the 4-man wall. The two guys from Marconi would have blinded his vision. He wouldn't have seen that till late. He got up and rose high, but it came in off the post and went in to make it 2-0 Marconi right on half-time here. And it's going to be a tough climb for Olympic in the second half to claw this one back. What a great strike, Marco Jesic.
A player who has tasted round of 32 actions, past couple of seasons. Marconi 2016, they made the round of 32, lost on penalties to Hume City. Marco Jesic did feature, scored in that penalty shootout. Hasn't quite been as productive from the penalty spot in recent weeks in the NPL, but you saw his ability there on the dead ball. A player with A-League experience, and he's got better and better in the New South Wales National Premier League. One of the stars of the competition. We saw there the quality that he produced from that free kick. Stunning from Marco Jesic.
And Peter Tsakenis would have loved to have seen that. If nothing else, to go in with the 1-0 lead would have been a fantastic tonic going into that break. But to go 2-0 up, obviously you'll need to get the guys refocused because the game is not over. Only half a job's done at the moment. And there's a half-time whistle there by Michael Wiener. And Marconi Stallions 2 take that 0 lead into the half-time sheds.
It is a 2-0 lead to the Marconi Stallions. The goals coming. Excellent work from James Andrew. A header inside from Nathan Milgate, and Andrew was there to tuck it away. And then moments later, it was Marco Jesic from a set piece, in off the post, in off Paul Henderson, and it's given the Marconi Stallions a 2-0 lead here at the half-time break. We'll have a short break. We'll be back with more action here from Belmore and across the NPL New South Wales scene. FFA Cup action it is. right across Sydney. And we're delighted to have your company. Do join us after a short break. Back for more action. And it's welcome back to Belmore Sports Ground. Round 7 action in the FFA Cup Football New South Wales qualifier here. A big one between the Marconi Stallions and Sydney Olympic. At the break, if you've just joined us, it is the visitors, Marconi Stallions, who have a 2-0 lead over Sydney Olympic. Tony Tanous and Will Gotsis with you on the Football New South Wales channels. We're about to get the second half proceedings underway. We'll certainly keep you posted across the scores, right across the other 4 qualifiers. Let's see what the hosts, Abbotsard's side, Sydney Olympic, have in store for us in this second period.
Tony, just while we wait for the referee to get things underway, let's go through some stats from the first half. Shots, 7 shots to Sydney Olympic, 5 to Marconi, but only 1 shot for Sydney Olympic on target, whilst Marconi had 4, of course, 2 of those resulting in goals. Corners, Olympic 4 to Marconi 3. Fouls 8 all, 1 yellow card apiece, and just the 1 offside to Marconi. So, as you can see, Olympic haven't taken their chances in that first half, and Marconi certainly did with their 2 goals.
It was an excellent start from the hosts in Sydney Olympic. They just couldn't hit the back of the net, though. Then Marconi managed to work their way back into the game. We've seen a change at the halftime break for Abbotsard's side. Nicola Koleski is the player who has come on, and Zach McKenzie's the player who's made way. So Nicola Koleski's come on. Looks like he might go into a back 3 here. Tactical changes. Sydney Olympic get us back underway. So we'll keep an eye on what happens here tactically, but it looks like Nicola Koleski's dropped in between the 2 defenders in Will Angel and Mitch Stamatellis. Zach McKenzie's the player who's made way. As Millgate, strong, climbing there, giving away a free kick though against Sanchez, who started the game extremely well. Millgate showing his influence at the other end in the 40th minute with that assist to James Andrew. Will, how do you see this one unfolding second half?
Well, obviously, Tony, Olympic are going to have to press and attack a lot more, chasing this game now. Just have a look at this shot.
As Marty Fernandez tries to dink one over. Too close to the keeper there.
Yeah, just they're going to have to chase the game, which will obviously, if Marconi can keep their shape and their lines, they're susceptible to another goal in transition, Sydney Olympic, but nothing else to really do other than attack the game in the second half and hope that they can pull back one and then, force the game on. But at the moment, Marconi look to be doing it comfortably at 2-0, but things can change quickly, as we know. And
Abbotsard, Giancarlo Italiano, his assistant, they've gone for a tactical adjustment at the break, bringing on Nicola Koleski, a famous name across Marconi circles. Of course, his dad, Blagoje Koleski, part of the championship side throughout the 90s. Nicola Koleski coming on for the Sydney Olympic side, slotting into the centre of defence. We know him more ostensibly as a holding midfielder, but they've gone to a back 3 here, and this is going to be fascinating second half. Certainly keep you updated on progress scores around the ground, so if you can maybe give us an update, Will, on how things are going.
Yeah, the game's in play at the moment, Tony. Down in Wollongong, it's still Mount Druitt Town Rangers leading Wollongong Wolves 1-0, so that would be an upset up against the current NPL1 leaders in the Wolves. St George Saints 54 gone, still leading Dulwich Hill 0. That's a goal to 0. Hassan kill from the spot there. Over at Cramer Park, 52 gone, Manly United 0, Rockdale City Suns 0, but as Jack messaged in, it was Manly dominating that first half, and of course City United and Northern Tigers still 1-1.
As Peter Kakeris comes forward down the left-hand side for Olympic. Can't quite find his target. Can Darcy Burgess retrieve this one? Does well to get ahead of James Andrew. Now Olympic look to get it inside. Timmy Petratos can't quite get on the end of that ball from Will Angel. Talk about the rivalry and the history and the tradition between these two sides. Of course, Peter Tsakenis, a stalwart of the Sydney Olympic Club. Played 9 years at the club. One of the great former players. Played with some of his heroes in Peter Catholos. Made it all the way to club captain. Then he coached the side to success in 2011. New South Wales top flight championship in that side were Paul Henderson and Will Angel. And here they are, 8 years on. Sakenis, the Marconi coach, Abbassad, one of the great players also for Sydney Olympic, of course, man of the match in that 1989-90 grand final. I mentioned that in the build-up to this game. Great rivalry between these two sides, such a traditional powerhouse as they featured in those two grand finals. 1989, Zlatko Nastevski scoring for Marconi to give them a 1-0 lead at Parramatta Stadium, and then the following season, Olympic 2-0 win for them. Can this Olympic side bounce back in the second half here? They have to do a bit of defending, though, in the meantime. Marty Fernandez, he's over this dead ball. The youngster drifts it inside. Chance here. Falls out to Dimi Petratos. Looking for an option forward, trying to take on Millgate. Experienced defender. Just gets his body in the way there, Nathan Millgate. He loves these FFA Cup nights.
Yeah, he does. Very lucky there for Olympic. Peter Pelikanos just couldn't get the right sort of power on that header. Had a free header there. Disappointing at himself. You could see him just running back into position. Dangerous set piece there from Marconi. Another one to come up now.
We've seen the threat just before the break at set pieces. Millgate's again the one-on-one here against Stamatilis. And he was the first to it as well. The player who proved the hero last year for the Apia Leichhardt Tigers in that game against the Melbourne Victory. Late winner after Tsusuke Sakia had given Apia the early impetus. Kenia Thew bagged the brace that night too, but Nathan Millgate was the hero by the time they did take on Adelaide. We mentioned that result earlier, the eventual champions. Late in September, season well and truly over, becomes more and more difficult, and that's really the challenge, Will, for these NPL New South Wales sides, not only NPL New South Wales sides, right across the board. In the early going, when the A-League sides maybe are early in their pre-season, they can get the results. The deeper it goes, the A-League sides move more into their pre-season, and the NPL sides becomes a bit more difficult, but it's still a great competition to be a part of. Yeah,
it certainly makes it tough, Tony, and I think Apia back then came off a big loss in the finals the week before, and they were really walking wounded. They had a skeleton staff in the end, really. They didn't have much of a bench, so it was a real David and Goliath battle, that one, and the fact that they came out on top even surprised me. I've had a lot to do with the Apia club over the years. I was a ground announcer that night for Apia at Leichhardt, and to see the scenes at the end of the game, I'll never forget it. And that's what's the beauty of Cup football, the magic of the Cup. And plenty of sides have an opportunity in the next round now. 5 will be from New South Wales to play against an A-League side and perhaps create some history of their own.
Yeah, these two sides, Sydney Olympic and Marconi Stallions, have been to the big occasion, the final 32 on 2 occasions each. Blacktown City, the ball comes over from Nick Satalios. Olympic looking for a lifeline back into this one. Madonna City's now at the back post. Happy to be patient through Will Angel, who gets it inside edge of the box. Sanchez's touch for once lets him down, and Yuli can pick up the loose ball. These two sides, as I mentioned, both been there twice. Blacktown City and Sydney United, the most successful of the NPL New South Wales sides. They've both been there 4 of the 5 occasions. United missed out last year, as did Blacktown. Blacktown aren't around this time. They were knocked out by United last round. So United certainly keen to put last year's disappointment behind them. These two sides, of course, want to join them in that 32.
Yeah, it's a great opportunity, as I said, to showcase their talents on the national stage, but also, for the fans and the sponsors who have supported these clubs, all clubs. It's a great night for them, and the history that can be created is next to none. And as we've touched on, Tony, the NPL New South Wales competition, such a fabulous competition, and it makes a classic derby battles, because obviously the A-League sides are, they're in pre-season mode basically, but if you had them at full tilt, you couldn't have a competition as successful as it is. So great times to perhaps catch the upset. And even Kevin Muscat said last year RP deserved to beat them. So
5 teams will represent New South Wales. 10 teams still alive. Looks like most of the games are still alive. If Olympic can get one back here, they're right back in it. Certainly keep you posted right around the grounds today. We're up north in Cromer Park. Manly taking on Rockdale. Manly, of course, shaking off the Sutherland Sharks last time round. A 1-0 win away. As for Rockdale City, they beat NPL 3-side Sydney Uni by 6 goals to 1. Remains 0-0 there, does it, Will? 0-0 at Cromer
it's
Park.
Still 0-0, Tony. No scores in the games that we've covering tonight, so still all the scores remain the same throughout the first 55 or so minutes. Wollongong
will have to do it from behind again. I mentioned that association side last time round, Pittwater RSL, really pushed them in the round 6 game. They went 1-0 up, and Thomas James came off the bench. Speaking to Luke Wilkshire in the build-up to tonight's game. He's got a full-strength squad available. We don't know the lineup, but it's a bit of an upset. Although, having said that, we know that Miriam Pavlovich and Johnny Roberts, and we know Mount Druitt Town, been in a lot of games. And at the moment, see a substitution here. It is the Sydney Olympic Cups king in Michael Gay-Tatsis. He's been the hero over the years for Olympic, even this year in the qualifiers. He scored 3 goals for them. But we go back to 2014, the first version of the FFA Cup. And Michael Gay-Tatsis, he scored 2 goals in a 3-1 win in round 32 against Manly United, that team we just mentioned. And then Olympic losing in the round of 16 against Bentley. And then the following year, 2015, Olympic second. Second time they were in the FFA Cup round of 32. They beat Gungahlin United by 1-0. Michael Gay-Tatsis, the scorer again in that game. Ended up losing in the round of 16 to Hume City. But he has been the hot hand, so to speak, for this club over the years in the FFA Cup, and he's come on for Darcy Burgess. So another positive attacking move for Abbassad.
Yeah, he's got 35 minutes to play, and good to see that they're getting the changes on early and chasing this game with a fair amount of time left on the clock. Nothing worse than trying to chase in that last 10 or 15 minutes. Gives him plenty of opportunity, and as you've touched on, Tony's certainly a Cups king, and some players just have that affinity for Cups football, and Michael Gay-Tatsis is one of those.
Here he is chasing the ball down the right-hand side. Shielding it all the way out. Roberto Speranza has been playing left centre-back throughout the season. Moved across, as we said, from Blacktown City, along with his brother Giorgio. The likes of Zach Cancross, Connor Evans, Mitch Malia, and Marconi without some of their big guns tonight.
We just mentioned a couple of those players. Mitchell Malia has really been lighting it up the last few weeks for Marconi. Connor Evans, a player that got injured in the first game of the season, it was. I think it was against Apia. Hasn't played since. Did some training with the boys early on tonight before the game. He said he's 2 to 3 weeks away, probably more 3 weeks. But he's running freely, so it's good signs for Marconi. And it'll be like a whole new transfer for them as well.
Yeah, when you think also of Anthony Franchi, a player who moved across, was terrific for Hakoa last season. As lining up the strike there, Liam Yuli couldn't quite get that one down, but he's been very productive and busy in that midfield. But Anthony Franchi, a terrific young player, hasn't quite been able to hit the back of the net as much as he would have liked this season. He's out injured at the moment, so as Marconi build through the remainder of this season, a few key players to come back in for them. Yeah,
most definitely, and obviously they've got Sydney FC this Sunday. It's a game that I'll be calling. An opportunity for them to get back-to-back victories and be within a game or so of that top 5. Obviously, every week, sides are taking points off each other, so if you can string 2 or 3, which we saw with Marconi earlier on in the season, you can really usurp yourself up the ladder.
Here's Yuli again, combining with Yanni Nicolau. Now it's on the left-hand side. Mari Fernandez, the youngsters combining through that midfield. But Olympic holding them up now. And now they can hit in transition. Again, Milgate, who's been rock solid in the centre of defence. As we said in the first half, we've been used to seeing him more on the right side of defence, slotting in it in the absence of Zach Cancross tonight. And Sanchez was on fire in the first 20 minutes. But since then, Milgate's really been on top in that battle.
Yeah, it's good to see him in form, Tony. Come across, of course, from Apia last season. One of the big name players to come across as a right back. Got suspended early on. And even when he came back through the 20s, was playing at right back. I couldn't quite understand why we were playing at right back with someone his experience should be in the centre of defence, especially in the under-20s coming back. But his recent weeks has been in good form. Here's
Vela driving forward now for Marconi, looking to extend their lead. Again, he can't keep that one down. But a couple of efforts from the midfielders in Yuli and Brandon Vela early in this second half. An hour into this one, Tony Tanous and Will Gotsis with you on the Football New South Wales channels. Hope you're enjoying the coverage. Certainly keep you posted. A lot of tight games right across the 5 Football New South Wales qualifiers. D-Day it's been dubbed. And everything at stake. That opportunity to be on the national stage. 5 representatives from New South Wales, 4 each from Victoria and Queensland, 2 from Northern New South Wales, 2 from Football West over at WA, and then 1 each from Capital, Northern Territory, South Australia and Tasmania, along with the NPL 2018 champions in Campbelltown City and the 10 A-League sides. They make up your 32. And that's what we're playing for here. As Andrew drives at Will Angel, who stands up again. Good defending from him. Andrew it is again to the back post this time. No one there for Marconi. Stamatellis didn't quite get the call. Yuli again picking up that pieces in the midfield. Being very good so far for Peter Tsakenis' side. And now Peter Pelikanos. Great to see him back in the starting 11 for the Stallions. Lovely turn there from Yuli. Really enjoying his night. No Sean O'Connell, of course, tonight. It was terrific on the weekend against Rockdale, the Marconi skipper. But he hasn't had a lot of games recently. And Peter Tsakenis not prepared to overload him. Looks like we might see the third and final change here. Harry Gaitatsis, we saw Michael come on. Another Cups hero for Sydney Olympic in past years. Harry Gaitatsis makes way for Dimi Petratos on the hour mark. So Abasad has emptied his bench. And Gaitatsis, a like-for-like change there. Forward it goes from Stamatellis. His opposite number, Roberto Speranza. Now Sanchez wanted the free kick there. It's on here between Sanchez and Milgate. Sanchez thought he was upended there as that ball went through. Referee stepping in just to sort that out. Nenad Vekic taking the opportunity to kill the seconds.
Yeah, I think it's more a bit of frustration there from Alex Sanchez than anything else. Nathan Milgate has been stellar in that centre of defence and just really starving Alex Sanchez of opportunity in the second half.
We've got a goal around the grounds.
Yeah, we do, Tony. No, it's just been cancelled out, so the update is not an update. It was looked like it was 1-1 down there in Wollongong, but the goal's been cancelled, so our update feed letting us down there. But still, we'll just go through quickly the scores at the moment for those viewers who have only just joined us here at Belmore Sports Ground. Marconi 2 leading Sydney Olympic 0.
Skakeris looks to go inside. Milgate again, first to it. This time it sticks with Jesic. But Olympic pick up the ball. Harry Gaitatsis can't keep it. And now Yuli gives it away again.
Yeah, now the game's around the grounds, Tony. Wollongong Wolves 0, trailing Mount Druitt Town Rangers 1. That's in the 71st minute, so a massive upset there at Valentine Sports Park. Still St George Saints 1, leading Dulwich Hill 0. At Cromer Park still 0-0, Manly United and Rockdale City. And Sydney United in the 70-minute mark there at Adenza Sports Centre 1, Northern Tigers 1. So a couple of games perhaps headed to extra time. This game at the moment,
what a story.
Marconi well and truly on top.
What a story it would be for Mount Druitt Town, newly promoted, of course, this season from NPL2, where they were really dominant last year. Marconi, it was the season before, who got promoted up to NPL1. Mount Druitt this year, and they've been very competitive in most games, and now having Pavlovich and Roberts up front alongside the likes of Tufik Alameddine, and we've seen Fabrizio Fernandez, who's been terrific, the Uruguayan.
There's also Boyaja in there who's very strong too, so that front third, they've got plenty of explosive strike power for them. And they've been, as you said, they've been in a lot of games, and they've scored quite a few goals this year too, so they're doing some good things out there.
Now it's back to the action here as Kakeris is over this dead ball. Olympic have won a free kick high up the pitch. Can they get one back here and give themselves a lifeline back into this game? 2-0 it is to the visitors, Marconi Stallions. But the youngster, Peter Kakeris. Making the run was Stamatellis. Appeals there for a push in the back. It was a set piece. Stamatellis faked the drive to the back post, then went near post, and it almost paid off, not far at all from Kakeris.
Yeah, very unlucky there for Olympic. Of course, Stamatellis so strong in the air, the fake run, and we saw that earlier with some set pieces for Marconi with Nathan Milgate, almost pulling one back for Sydney Olympic. They'll need much more of that in these final 25 or so minutes. They need to get it on the scoreboard quite quickly and soon if they are to really force this game. But Abbassad has unloaded his bench, and they're going to play very attack-minded for these last 25 or so minutes.
Been in control so far, the opening 20 minutes of this second half, Olympic, but nothing to show for it. Marconi have threatened on a couple of times in transition, also at the set piece, and again they send Milgate forward. Got another free kick here. That battle between Stamatellis and Milgate in the air. That's where it goes. Henderson comes. Milgate gets to it. Play on's the call. What's going on here? Has it been awarded? Yes, it has. Marty Fernandez on the spot. Olympic stopped thinking the ball had gone over the byline. Play on was the call from the officials. And Marconi have extended their lead here to 3-0. Marty Fernandez it is with the tap away. Milgate with the assist. His second of the night. And what a moment that is in this FFA Cup qualifier.
Yeah, just looking at the highlights there on Trusty YouTube, Tony. Definitely the ball was in play there. Nathan Milgate didn't give up on the play. Got there first. And it's Marty Fernandez couldn't believe his luck. Tucked it away from close range. Easiest goal he'll ever score in his life. Marconi 3, Sydney Olympic 0. And that mountain's just become a lot higher for Olympic to climb.
Last year's NPL champions in big strife here. They set themselves the goal, of course, of making it through to the FFA Cup round of 32. Trying to salvage something so far. And they've gone behind further. Here at Belmore Sports Ground, Abbassad just can't believe his luck this season. Nothing going right for the champions. And there was Jun Park, the assistant referee, right on the spot. That battle we talked about, Milgate versus Stamatellis. Usually it's the head of Milgate that's the target. This time he was able to get on the end of it and keep it alive. Olympic really needs something here. Here's their man, Sanchez. Again, it's Milgate. What a performance from him. Stepping out and clearing. Doesn't he love the cups? Oh, Nathan Milgate.
Yeah, certainly. We talk about Cups Kings. He's made for. I was going to say before that was the free kick was taken, Tony, that Nathan Milgate is one of the tallest men you'll ever see. You don't see it from a distance, but when you're standing next to him, he'd be 6.5 feet easy, and not many people are going to out-muscle him or out-head him, and he just didn't give up on that play. Olympic just thought they'd shield the ball out of play. Mr. 2020, Jun Park on the spot, said play on, and Marty Fernandez made it 3-0.
And Abbassad has certainly been disappointed throughout the season with some of the sloppy defending. On that occasion, you can't really blame Stamatellis. He was trying to get out. The defence in the middle switched off there, and no one alive to Marty Fernandez, and the ball kept alive. Michael Wiener, of course, trusting Jun Parks right on the spot on the byline. A couple of very experienced officials. And Marconi with a massive stranglehold. In fact, this time last year. Olympic lost 3-0 to the Apia Leichhardt Tigers at the same stage. As Kakeris comes forward, Olympic with Sanchez. What an opportunity that was. That time the block, it looked like it might have been Pelikanos helping out his central defenders there. Important intervention. Hasn't had much game time. Peter Pelikanos just feeling it a little bit as we tick towards the midway point of the second half. Tony Tanusin and Will Gotsis with you for FFA Cup, Magic of the Cup. Round 7, New South Wales qualifiers. Certainly keep you posted if there are any updates. Just give us a run around all the grounds and scores at the moment.
Yeah, just at the moment, Tony, obviously 3-0 here. Marconi leading Sydney Olympic down in Wollongong at Ian McLennan Park. Mount Druitt 1 leading Wollongong Wolves 0. That's 77 minutes gone. Out at Valentine Sports Park, St George Saints 1, courtesy of that Hussein Akil penalty, still leading Dulwich Hill 0. At Cromer Park, Manly United 0, Rockdale City Suns 0, and Edensor Park still 1-1.
This time it's a free kick to the Sydney Olympic. Kakeris it was, driving past Vella, committing him to a foul. And Brandon Vella goes into the book. Positive drive there from Peter Kakeris. Couple of good injections from him in the last couple of minutes. Trying to give Olympic a little bit of a spark. Koleski, how many times have we seen him from range? We saw it earlier in the season. In fact, it was against the Marconi Stallions.
Yeah, I think you've called one here this year against Marconi, and I called one of his Rockets against Blacktown. He's one of the great strikers of the league.
Here he is, similar range from that Marko Jesic scored a little bit earlier on for Marconi before the break. Nikola Koleski, I mentioned his dad, Blagoje Koleski, such a Marconi great throughout the 90s. Can Nikola put a dent in his old man's club? Here he is stepping up and can't get it on target. Koleski, it's good work there from Jesic just to drop off onto the line there and make him think about it.
Yeah, well picked up there, Tony. Marko Jesic dropped out of the wall onto the near post just in case Jesic got it over. He did get it over, but in the end it was just a foot or so wide of that bottom post. But Marko Jesic did well there, knowing how dangerous he is.
Olympic, nothing quite working for them so far. Abassad's rung the changes. Certainly given them a chance. Change the formation. But it is Marconi trying to extend the lead here. James Andrew was open there in space. Marty Fernandez's pass just cut off. But Liam Yulee, who's been outstanding, driving forward. Now he's trying to slip it through for Nicolau. The youngster's really shining here for Marconi. Fernandez, Nicolau, and Yulee. Here is Marty Fernandez. All these players, of course, have spent some time at the West Sydney Wanderers Academy. We see that right across the NPL scene. A lot of ex-academy players, and this is a great opportunity for them to get full-time game time. We really need those professional club opportunities to pop up through a national second division, and we're working towards that, of course, across the football landscape. And the FFA Cup certainly showing that gap narrowing between these semi-professional clubs and the professional A-League sides year after year. See the talent that's right across this league and across this level. Yeah, you're seeing that here today. Marconi missing so many key players, but the young kids stepping up.
Yeah, you're right, Tony. The young kids are stepping up, and it's also something that the Marconi fans can have a piece of the action moving forward with these young kids. We know Western Sydney Wanderers are probably the best nursery in Australia when it comes to football. So strong they are.
Harry Gay-Tatsis looking for his brother in Michael, who's playing on the right side of the attack with Sanchez through the middle, Kakeris on the right. Really thrown the fresh legs out there. Not really been able to test Vekic enough though. Olympic have created a couple of half openings. But what a turn up it'll be. Marconi, as I mentioned, have not had a great record against Olympic in recent years. They've met over 100 times. But only one win to the Stallions since 2012. Of course, they did spend 2 years in the second tier. But it shows you the stranglehold that Sydney Olympic have had on this tie in recent times. As Sanchez, again, that was Gaitatsis in fact, just looking to get it over to that left-hand side. Satalios was the target, not quite hitting it.
Tony, Olympic have been ostensibly a top 5 side in the NPL New South Wales for a long time now. Always one of the big hitters in the league, so it's no surprise, but it's a storied rivalry. I remember you touched back on the grand finals 89-90. When Olympic won, I remember running onto the field as a fan of Olympic. You were allowed
to.
You were allowed to back then. They couldn't stop you, really.
My mate's dad didn't let us run onto the field. Yeah, we had to stay up on the hill.
Yeah, but some fabulous memories, and it'll be good that looks like Marconi will be into that round of 32, and hopefully they can get a big A-League side and perhaps a scalp of their own.
Yeah, I mentioned Marconi have been there on 2 occasions. On both times they have been knocked out in the first round, in the round of 32. So if they are there, they've certainly got the cattle to really make a go of it in the FFA Cup. And obviously they've still got aspirations. They're still looking to go up in the NPL ladder. They're in 7th spot on 16 points. So they still will have to go on the 2 fronts, but they certainly have some weapons.
Well, the next best thing, as you know, with the NPL clubs, if they don't draw an A-League club, they love to draw away. So, true, it looks like Tony have just had a red card against them, so they will play with 10 men for the final 7 minutes against Wollongong. Can they hold on? As
Marconi look to extend the lead here, certainly keep you posted on progress scores. Looks like there might be a goal at another ground as well.
Yes, at Valentine Sports Park, St George Saints have doubled their lead, Tony, so into the final 10 minutes there, it's St George Saints 2 leading Dulwich Hill 0, so they look like they will be going through to the round of 32.
What a story that'll be. The great club, St George FC, so many history and tradition in the NSL. As Sanchez comes forward, and now the challenge comes in. The penalty's been awarded. Millgate's been the hero at the other end. On this occasion, he gives away the penalty. Sanchez skipping around Nenad Vekic, and then Millgate committing to the challenge. And Olympic, with 15 minutes remaining, have a bit of a lifeline here. It is going to be a penalty, and Jason Madonis, the skipper, has picked up the ball and wants the responsibility.
I'm a little surprised that he's not going to leave it for Alex Sanchez, but he's a skipper. It will fall on his shoulders if Olympic are to remain in this contest.
He's only scored 3 so far this season in the New South Wales National Premier League. Jason Madonis, we spoke about the lively start that he had to this game. He's drifted out of it a little bit, but what an important moment this is for this in the Olympic skipper. And he buries it. It comes off Vekic, but he tucks it away, and Olympic are back in this one. It is 3-1 still to the Stallions. The skipper wanted to retrieve the ball quickly there. Vekic guessed the right way, got a touch to it, but couldn't quite keep it out.
Yeah, it was unlucky for Vekic. He did guess the right way. Just a little too much power on it from Jason Madonis. And now Marconi 3 leading Sydney Olympic 1. Just over 13 minutes to play. So if they to score in the next 5 or so minutes, it'll really set it up for a grandstand finish.
An update around the grounds. I just received a text from the man on the spot, a man familiar to us across the NPL New South Wales scene, Eric Subiano. Bradley Bartels, the hero against RPL Leichhardt Tigers, has extended the lead for St George FC. So St George FC look like they're going to make it through to the national round of 32. They lead Dulwich Hill by 3-0. Any other updates across the grounds?
At the moment, still with 4 minutes to play down in Wollongong.
Wow.
Mount Druitt still leading Wollongong Wolves 1-0. Manly and Rockdale 0-0 at Cromer Park. And Sydney United, as we speak, have just taken the lead 2, leading Northern Tigers 1. There's 6 minutes left out at the Denzer Park.
Oh, the atmosphere there will be absolutely rocking. I was down there for the call on Sunday against Blacktown City, and they're really looking forward to that one. So
I'd say the music's playing in the Boca stand, and it's going off right now.
Mirov Lastelitz aside, They've really set themselves the goal. We talk about their record. They become, if they go through, they become the most successful team. 5 out of the 6 years they've made it through to the national round of 32. Sydney United, one of the storied clubs in Australian football, a production line of players. And I mentioned on the weekend. They certainly rested the likes of Glenn Trefiro, Yanni Frajogiannis, and also Yanni Perkatis, partly with an eye on tonight's game. You know, the short turnaround, and if they get the win, they'll see that as a bit of a success. Still a bit of time, though, for the Northern Tigers. Don't write them off. Here it is, Olympic, with 12 minutes plus stoppage time remaining. They've got one back through their skipper in Madonis. Now it's Stamatilis. It dinks it forward. The flick on there for Sanchez. But Gaitatsis it was. Judged to have been offside there. Certainly need everything to go for them. And these last 12 minutes, they haven't had a lot of luck. And speaking of the last few minutes, Wollongong Wolves, don't they have a retrieval job to do down at Ian McLennan?
Yeah, well, different opposition tonight to Pittwater RSL. Obviously, Thomas James would be on the field down there, the league's leading goal scorer with 15 at the moment. But I'll tell you what, only 2 minutes to play. They'll need to pull something out of the fire there, because Mount Druitt Town Rangers, on the back of that Mirjam Pavlovic signing, of course playing tonight for them, will be a massive scalp if they are to go on and knock off the league leaders.
It's going to be an exciting partnership, that one. John Roberts, Pavlovic. Is that a foul there? Michael Wiener's going to pull out a card there. Goes against Gaitatsis. Looks like the central midfielder, Harry Gaitatsis, goes into the book. That late challenge. That's the sort of thing Abbassad will be so frustrated about, him and his assistant, Giancarlo Italiano. But at the moment, Peter Tsakenis just having a chat to his skipper in Sean O'Connell. Looks like he might be about to bring him on. Some insurance here from the Marconi Stallions manager, the experienced Sean O'Connell. Mentioned the influence he had back in the starting 11 against Rockdale. A defensive-minded player will add a bit of experience in these final 10 minutes.
Yeah, he certainly has been one of the better holding midfielders in the competition for a number of years now. And he'll just go on into that centre of the park to shore up things for coach Peter Tsakenis.
Looks like it might be Brandon Vella that makes way. He's just gingerly walking off. Another terrific performance from him alongside Liam Yulee in the centre of that midfield. Always such a consistent performer, Brandon Vella. Player who I feel has real claims to play at a much higher level. He is a terrific footballer. Always produces consistency. Mentioned last year, Marconi's Player of the Year. And it's been another productive night for him. But Sean O'Connell comes on alongside Yulee. He's probably been arguably the man of the match. Your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think he'd be very close to the money there, Tony.
Nathan
has
Milgate
had a fabulous game. Also, Nathan Milgate did give up that penalty though, but defensively he's been on song tonight for Marconi. That was his only fault of the evening.
Just organising things here. Can Olympic give themselves a lifeline back again? They've got one from the penalty spot. Now they've got a set piece. Satalios can't quite get on the end of it, but Kakeris battling away there. It is a throw-in high up to the pitch to the Stallions.
Just an update from around the grounds, Tony. They've had to put the Bocker stand, the grandstand back together. Northern Tigers in the 88th minute have equalised, so it's 2-2 now. Sydney United 58 and Northern Tigers.
Sounds like an epic there at King Tom. Here's Marconi trying to clear at Belmore. 3-1 they lead. Kakeris with a chance to get the cross in. Can he find his target? Appeals for handball there from the Olympic faithful. Good crowd here at Belmore Sports Ground on a cold Wednesday night.
Yeah, the crowd trying to influence the referee there, but Peter Pelikanos certainly had his hand by his side. It's not a handball, and the right decision made there from the referee.
Been very strong, Peter Pelikanos. He's bided his time, waiting for his opportunity. Started to come in recent weeks, and he's taken that, just as Yanni Nicolau did earlier in the season. And the likes of Yulee, Nicolau, Fernandez, they've all taken their opportunities again tonight.
Yeah, he's a good kid, Peter Pelikanos. Comes from a good family. Of course, his brother Dean plays for Western Sydney Wanderers in the under-20 system there. So a family that are very good at football. And Peter making a fist of things at Marconi.
Only one game with no goals so far across our Football New South Wales scene over at Cromer Park.
Yeah, still 0-0 there at Cromer Park, and that game looks like it's headed to extra time and perhaps even penalties on the back of a 0-0 scoreline. Mount Druitt into injury time, still leading Wollongong Wolves 1-0. St George Saints 3, leading Dulwich Hill 0 in the 90th minute. So they're going to go through to the round of 32, and Sydney United and Northern Tigers into injury time 2-2.
Battle there in the midfield. Sean O'Connell just on the pitch, doing what Sean O'Connell does best, breaking it up in the middle. Now the battle, physical in the middle. At time it was Madonnas trying to win a free kick for Olympic. Marconi get it forward to Yesic. Been used to seeing him play off the striker tonight, playing in that number 9 role, doing a lot of the hold-up play for his teammates. Another productive night for him. We saw him score a spectacular goal just before the half-time break.
Yeah, it just looks like it's James Andrew going down on the far side, Tony. Maybe it's cramps. Hopefully nothing too sinister for him. He's played 85 minutes tonight. He's starting to get some good minutes in his legs. Of course, played full game on the weekend for Marconi, scoring late on their 5th goal for them. About to see another substitution for Marconi Stallions.
It is to be.
Lockie Sepping coming on, and he will be replacing that man we were just speaking about, James Andrew. So an opportunity for young Lockie Sepping, number 15, to come on. Only 17 years of age, one of the stars of Australian football in that under-17 scheme.
James Andrew, what a night for him. Scored the opener. Won the free kick that gave Yesic the opportunity to score the second. The Cup's king, as we call him, James Andrew, produced it for Blacktown City, and it looks like he will get the opportunity to go to the national stage again for the Marconi Stallions. Can't wait for those draws to come out as Kakeris gets it through, looking for Sanchez. In the end, Pelicanos, in fact it was Yanni Nicolau working back alongside Millgate. Important intervention there from the youngster. He's just dropped in to help out in defence. We know that he can do that. Sanchez was sniffing around there for the opportunity. Here's the resulting corner. Just under 5 minutes remaining. Can Olympic get it? One back! It's Stamatellis. Always the target in the air. And he got on the end of that one, but he couldn't keep it under the bar. Yes, Vekic was exposed there. Yes. And had he got that under the bar, back of the net.
Yeah, he certainly was exposed. I mean, it's amazing, these central defenders. They just climb at the right time. We've seen it with Millgate tonight. We've seen it with Stamatellis. And a lot of times, they've just got that knack of climbing, and they almost end up there on their own all the time with free headers. But it's just the art and the ability that they have in the air. And unfortunately, these days, we don't see a lot of it.
Yeah, we see a lot of it, though, in the New South Wales National Premier League, and it's fantastic,
but I'm talking at a junior
level.
level. It's all about
Correct.
possession-based and ball on the ground. The kids don't learn to head these days.
Yeah, and we certainly seen a schooling tonight in that at both ends. Millgate at one end, and that battle with Stamatellis sort of sums up the season for Olympic, though, that header just not creeping under the bar. Marconi build up down the left-hand side.
Yeah, we've got full time in McLennan down in Kembla Grange, and what an upset, a cup set. Mount Druitt Town Rangers 1, defeating Wollongong Wolves 0. So they're going to go through to the round of 32 for Aidan Desmond and Stuart Montgomery out there. What a fantastic achievement for that club.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant from the Mount Druitt Town Rangers. Wollongong Wolves certainly taking this one serious. They really wanted to make the step into the National 32, given how good they've been in the New South Wales National Premier League. The fact that they're not there is a little bit disappointing from the point of view of the country not getting to see that level of football showcased at that level. But Mount Druitt Town Rangers, Pavlovich coming in, some really good signings lately, and what a huge...
The only good thing, I guess, when they don't get through to the round of 32, Tony, there's no FFA Cup commitments, there's no Waratah Cup commitments. So now Wollongong Wolves just concentrate on the league and the league solely.
Well, you talk about the Waratah Cup, and obviously the elimination finals start on the 19th of June. So the winner of Wollongong and Mount Druitt taking on the winner of Manly and Rockdale. So that's the elimination final. So no sooner are the FFA Cup commitments over, Wollongong won't be a part of that, but Mount Druitt will still get an opportunity to go forward as well in the Waratah Cup.
Okay, out Cromer Park, Tony, into time added on. It's still 0-0. Manly United, Rockdale City Suns. At King Tom, Sydney United 58-2. Northern Tigers 2. That's now into extra time. And St George Saints 4 have defeated Dulwich Hill 0.
So if we do sign off here at full time, certainly be able to keep abreast of all the scores and updates across the social channels of FFA Cup, Magic of the Cup, also the Football New South Wales pages, social media, and also the website. Our great team of reporters, photographers right around the grounds. So you certainly be able to keep up to date with all the results. Follow the hashtags on Twitter and across social media, FFA Cup and also Magic of the Cup. Foul throw on that far side. Olympic, time ticking away for them. We're in the 89th minute. It's going to be a disappointing end to their FFA Cup run, it looks like, at home. They lost at this same stage last season against the RPL Leichhardt Tigers 3-0. And a yellow card there issued to the youngster, Marty Fernandez. Just trying to kill a bit of time with a bit of old school dark arts there. The youngster showing the experience he picks up off some of the older boys in this squad. Certainly keep you as up to date as we can right through to the end of this one as Damien Sakinis gets ready to come on for Marconi, the youngster who has scored throughout this FFA Cup run. He's been doing well in the under-20s. Player who plays in the front third as a striker. Called plenty of him during the off-season in the futsal scene. It's good to see him on the pitch in the NPL scene as well at FFA Cup night.
Yeah, Tony, the fourth official, just indicated there'll be 4 minutes of additional time added on. So 4 minutes, and Manly United and Rockdale City Suns have now entered extra time, 0-0 over there at Cromer Park.
So Olympic really need one quickly here. Marconi, though, in transition through Yesic. They lead 3-1. Yesic among the scorers. Just happy to hold this one up, the experienced attacker. Excellent work from him, combining with O'Connell. Now winning a free kick, which will eat more seconds into this one. So we've got full time at Cromer Park. We've also got full time at Mount Druitt. How are we looking at Valentine Sports Park?
Valentine Sports Park, it's full time there. St George Saints have wrapped that up, defeating Dulwich Hill 4-0. So it was Johnny Warren's club, St George Saints.
Fantastic. What a story that is. And what a story it's been for the youngster. Marty Fernandez sealed it with the third goal in the second half off a Millgate tee-up. And he comes off for another youngster in Damien Sakinis. What a night for Marty Fernandez. What a night also for Damien Sakinis.
Yeah, good to see Damien come on. He has been good throughout the preliminary rounds for Marconi. We'll get an opportunity for the last couple of minutes here.
Just laying it off to Yuli. Olympic can't pick it up in the midfield. Eventually they do. Through Satalios. Goes long. Peter Pelikanos all over that. And now it's Satalios again. Looking long. Millgate's header down. What a performance from Nathan Millgate. Alongside Roberto Esperanza. Certainly Sanchez looked extremely lively early on. And he's been among the goals. I mentioned 5 of the 7 goals Olympic have scored against Marconi in the last 3 games have been scored by Sanchez. He's done damage early, but they've been able to keep him blunt tonight. And that speaks to how well organised and how united they have been.
Yeah, had plenty of room to move early on in that first half, Tony, and then obviously Marconi just realigned things in that back four. Nathan Millgate's really been in his pocket for a majority of the game and hasn't allowed him a great deal of space to show his wares.
Can Olympic get one back and make a run in the last couple of minutes. Again, it's a wasted ball. Frustration here from the Olympic faithful. They're not going to be in the FFA Cup for the 4th year on the spin. Club with real ambition, certainly some talk around them and the national 2nd division. Mentioned the storied nature of this club. 2 times national champions, also 2 times New South Wales champions. And they'll be disappointed not to go to the national stage, but have to dust themselves off. Marconi, on the other hand, be the 3rd time in the last 4 years that they'll be on the national round of 32 stage, and perhaps an opportunity to extend the lead here through Damien Tsakenis. Does well just to hold it up and tease it up nicely here. Nicolau 1-on-1. Can he make it 4? Across the goals, across the face of Paul Henderson's goal there.
What a play it was there, Tony, by the young Marconi boys. Lockie stepping with the ball forward. Tsakenis teeing it up.
Here he is pressing on Nikola Kaleski. And now, again, this time he's given away a foul. We're in the dying seconds here. Michael Weiner having a look at his watch. Millgate it is in the air. Again on Sanchez. He's been very frustrated. The referee, very experienced there, just stepping in between the 2 players. It's been a bit feisty between them. Certainly look to resume hostilities going forward in the NPL. New South Wales is still on here in the back play. Michael Weiner just settling the troops down. No doubt the frustration from the home side as Madonis steps over this one. In it goes to the back post. Now Roberto Speranza can clear all the way through to Lachlan Sepping, and that's it. That's the end. Marconi are through to the national round of 32. A 3-1 victory here in a traditional rivalry against Sydney Olympic. It was the Olympic side who really started the game on the front foot, couldn't convert their chances, and when Marconi eventually got themselves back in the game, they were able to get the goals before half-time. They came from first James Andrew, then Marco Jesic, and then it was the youngster Marty Fernandez extending the lead early in the second half to make it 3-0. Jason Madonis got one back, a late consolation for Sydney Olympic. Will, how do you sum up that game?
Oh, I think the scoreline showed the dominance in the end of Marconi. Olympic didn't take their chances early on, invited Marconi into the contest. And once they got in front, they never really looked like getting pegged back, Tony. 1-0, 2-0, obviously 3-0 was pretty much game over. Jason Madonis pulled that one back in the 75th from the spot. But all in all, I think a dominant display from Marconi. They'll be happy. Some of those young guys really stepped up yet again tonight in Cup football for Peter Tsakenis for Olympic. A little disappointing for them. Just goes to show, as last year's NPL New South Wales champions, how hard it is to back up the following year. They've been struggling a little bit in their competition with up and down form. Marconi, the same as well. They came into that tonight really fresh, and from the get-go, looked like they wanted it more, and ultimately they're through to the round of 32.
And they'll join a couple of teams who are already through. St George FC from NPL2, a 4-0 victory for them over Dulwich Hill. Also, full-time at Ian McClellan down in Wollongong. Mount Druitt Town Rangers with a 1-0 win over the Wollongong Wolves. But a couple of games still in progress. Sydney United have taken the lead in extra time against the Northern Tigers. Certainly keep an eye on all the socials for the updates out of Edensor Park. Sydney United taking the lead there. It's still 0-0 up at Cromer Park in extra time. Manly United and Rockdale City. Sounds like an arm wrestle up there. But from Belmore Sports Ground, it's been a terrific night. Summing it up, Will?
Ultimately, Marconi too good. They deserve their spot in the round of 32. They've shown that they are Cups football worthy components. They're going to do really well, and hopefully for them they get an A-League side. If not, that they draw another NPL side and perhaps give them an opportunity to get into the round of 16. Been a pleasure having your company, Will, throughout the night, and yours across Australia, across New South Wales, across the world. Been a pleasure having your company. Tony Tanous and Will Gotsis with you, wrapping up from Belmore Sports Ground, where it's finished Marconi Stallions 3, Sydney Olympic 1.